In the nave, almost leaning against one of the great columns, the eye is drawn to the great ambo, a large marble structure with bas-reliefs made of two distinct elements, which were reunited according to an original composition at the end of the 12th century. The base is a sarcophagus dated between 385 and 390, which, according to tradition, but wrongly, was linked to the burial of the Roman general Stilicho, the victor against the barbarians. The upper part, an example of a pulpit resting on the early Christian sarcophagus, dates from the early Middle Ages and is still used in the liturgy, depending on the solemnity of the occasion. An inscription carved on the railing of the upper part, sober and free of decorations, certifies that the ambo was rebuilt by the superintendent of the basilica, Guglielmo da Pomo, between 1196 and 1201, after the collapse of the bay in front of the dome, which had severely damaged the basilica. The sarcophagus, known as the stilicone, represents a rich array in the figurative biblical style. The longer sides are dominated by the figure of Christ surrounded by the apostles. On the most visible side, Jesus gives a missionary mandate to Pietro, while on the opposite side he is depicted seated on a mountain, intent on teaching to the apostles. All of them are joined by a chain, created through the overlaying of feet. The message is clear and frequent in the teachings of Ambrose. The path of the Catholic Church, the feet, carried out by the disciples and in particular the bishops, successors to the apostles, is the historic continuation of the life of Jesus. This is the apostolic tradition, from the Latin tradere, that is, to deliver or hand over to future generations the witness of faith. The shorter sides show scenes from episodes of the Old Testament. The prophet Elijah carried up to heaven in a chariot of fire. Adam and Eve, either side of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, easily recognizable by the serpent's coils. Noah in the ark, represented in the form of a baptismal font, above the waters as he receives the olive branch from the dove. Moses on Mount Sinai with his arms raised as he receives the tablets with the 10 Commandments from God. On one of the frontispieces of the cover, there is a representation of the Nativity, in which the ox and the ass keep guard over the Saviour in cloths, according to an iconographic model which refers to Easter and the resurrection. On the opposite shorter side, in the only identifiable scene, we find a narration of the story of the sacrifice of Isaac. His father Abraham is being stopped by the voice from heaven, which at the same time is showing him the goat trapped in the bushes.